Hi, this is Diya Mirza and you're watching BollywoodHungama.
Well, it's a huge privilege to have one and only one Diya Mirza, and she's looking right out of Rehna Tere Dil Mein right now. And Sanju, the promos are outstanding, and her track is looking simply amazing. Pleasure having you back on BollywoodHungama.
Faridun.
हाँ जी, तो ये आप खूबसूरती का प्लीज राज बताएं, ये क्या,
ये आप क्यों
कौन सा पानी पी रही हैं?
कुछ नहीं है, आप जानते हैं, मैं आपको पहले भी बता चुकी हूँ.
राइट, नहीं हम लोग हमेशा जब मिलते हैं ऐसा लगता है कि पहली बार मुलाकात आपसे हो रही है.
अच्छा
जी बिल्कुल.
नहीं क्यों, इतनी तो फेमिलियरिटी है.
नहीं in the sense कि there is a new level of freshness each time.
Thanks, I'm glad you
anytime.
went past that.
Anytime. Excited about Sanju? You're playing Manyata Dutt, from what you understand.
I'm very excited about the film. I think it's it's just such a privilege to work with Raju and to work with him for a second time. Lage Raho Munna Bhai is one of the most special films in my repertoire of work. And I mean, I was just so grateful for the opportunity, and also because she's such an important, integral part of his life. And I think when you see the film, you'll discover what I mean.
Right.
And it's just such an honor to work with so many wonderful artists. Ranbir, in my opinion, is not only one of the finest actors in the country, but is possibly one of the finest temperaments to work with. He's just such a joy to work alongside. I'll give an example of what I mean when I say that.
Sure.
We used to have early call times, 7:30, 8 o'clock we'd like to roll, which meant that Ranbir had to be in prosthetics for about 4 or 5 hours before that. He would always be the first one on set to get into prosthetics.
100%, yeah.
And be ready on set to roll at 8. No matter how hot it was, no matter how uncomfortable it was, I never once saw him get edgy, irritable, anxious, restless. It was like Bodhisattva on set.
No, he is like that. He is a Zen.
He is Zen.
He's Zen actually.
He's just like this centered, calm, 100% present artist. And I say he's present because I don't remember being in a scene and doing something and my co-actor being so alive to that moment before. He's very alive to what you're doing.
Right.
And because you instantly get a response from him.
Right.
And it's not something that you discuss or you kind of spend hours going over. You're just in front of the camera and you experience it and it's like magic. You just go away and you say, wow, something amazing just happened. So yeah, that's a blessing.
Right. And now the way the movie looks like from the promo itself, that he has just unraveled the entire, Raju sir has just unraveled the entire journey of Sanjay Dutt. Now, if we look at the women aspect of it.
Faridun, I think it would be hard to unravel his entire journey because I always say this in jest, but it's actually the truth.
Right.
Sanju sir's life, it's like many lives within one lifetime, and one cannot encapsulate his entire story in one movie.
No, 100%. So I'm talking basically about maybe the women in his life, the way they have tried to delve into it, that he has had many relationships. He has openly admitted that as well. Okay, and then even Manyata's role has been there in the public eye as well. It's very easy to judge Sanjay Dutt as well, and at the same time, Manyata, the way she entered his life, and there were stories, and then she totally transformed him in terms of be it his business, be it his professional outlook. So everything got transformed completely. They have 2 kids now as well. So even Manyata's character, I think there are several dimensions to it, because maybe what her past had been, and then she married him, and then after that, what really happened. So everyone knows about that. So if we talk about Manyata's character, so do we have different shades to her, or like?
You'll have to see the film.
See the film, yeah.
I'm not telling you.
Right. Because even her character, like say, because we are talking about character, but it's a real life thing. So, and it's in public domain. It's very interesting if you look at it from a cinematic point of view.
For me, the most interesting thing about being in this movie is that I think that all of us have very fixed perceptions about people because of what we've consumed through the media about them.
Sure.
And I think what's revealing about the story is that you get a sense of the truth and the reality in all its complexity. And for me, as a human experience, I think that is one that is so challenging and so unique and so wonderful, because when you're preparing for a character, in any story, you try and reach a point of empathy where you can borrow from the most honest emotion that you arrive at through that empathy. But in this case, I think it was so important for us to understand the context of everything that was happening in and around her at that time. And most importantly, the fact that she's a mother of 2 children. And it's such an nascent stage in these children's lives. This complex situation arrived, and what would it mean for a wife, for a mother to experience this? And my only aim, and our only aim, was to be able to connect with that truth and be able to deliver that truth with all our integrity and honesty.
When I saw the poster, and I tweeted that as well, and I wrote that it seems to be Dia Mirza's maybe one of the most important characters that she has played. The reason why I said that was that I feel that amongst all the relationships that maybe he has had, Sanju Dutt has had, I feel that Manyata's is the most interesting character, and I understand that it is like a real life activity.
It is because she's the final Mrs. Dutt.
She's the final Mrs. Dutt.
He said this himself.
Right. And
she said this somewhere.
Yeah.
I found it so fascinating because that is the truth. That's the ultimate truth.
Right. So, and where I'm coming from is that she's had a marriage before this. There have been stories which have been there in public domain, and then after that, his friends would believe that once she came into his life, they were distanced from him. Many say that she's a very smart woman in terms of that his finances were totally in tatters. She just regrouped everything together, and he stood with him when he was in jail, and she had 2 children. And at the same time, we've seen a certain glamorous side to her as well in terms of her Instagram pictures, and she likes to.
All that's now.
Yeah, it is there. So it's a very interesting character. There are several shades to it, which I think make it very well rounded.
Okay, so I can't comment to a lot that you've just said
okay.
Because I really want for you to see the film
I would
and
love
discover
to, yeah.
it. But what I can say is that, in my opinion, and I think it would be even in yours when you do watch the film, that here is an individual who is thrown into, deep into a circumstance which is not normal. And within that circumstance, what are the challenges that individual needs to face, and what is the driver, what motivates her, what drives her? And in my book, or in any human being's book, it would be 2 things: love and strength. And that for me were the 2 strongest components of what make for Manyata in the film and in life as well. Because everything else, all the other adjectives and all the other vocabulary we use to describe her kind of just falls apart, because what really emerges in all of this is that, wow, what strength
100%.
and what love.
Definitely. No, especially I think the phase when he was in jail, and I think the
can't
dignified
even begin
and
to
stoic
imagine
manner.
as a woman how that must have felt.
Yeah,
to
so
not be able to. I'm getting goosebumps just saying
No,
it.
I think she handled herself in a very dignified and stoic manner. There is no doubt about that.
But we will never know what she felt at home behind closed doors. I can't even imagine as a woman what it must have mean to, your child falls sick, your husband's in jail, you can't pick up the phone and say, you're on your own, you're handling, it's...
And the public perception changes. The moment you may be the biggest of celebrity in the world, but the fact is that public perception definitely changes the moment they're aware of the fact that the guy is in jail. And so it has happened with him in the past as well, even in '95 and even after that. So I'm sure that this time around she must have battled it out all alone.
I think Sanju sir has always benefited from extraordinary support and love. And in fact, when you kind of go back and look at the videos or the images that have been documented through his time spent in jail, whether it was the first time or even the second time round. You know, I was watching one of the videos of when he came out, finally a free man, he had served his time and he was out, and I saw the media, you know, people who had probably seen him since he was in his 20s, hugging him and embracing him, and the love. So I think that at some level, and that's the dichotomy and the duality of his life and his life situations, right? That while he saw and he experienced extraordinary love, he also experienced extraordinary isolation.
Yeah, and I think it's a beautiful life, because the fact is that many a times there are certain
Because
things
I
because
remember him
ultimately
saying this, you know, when you're in jail, you're alone, you're on your own, there's nothing. And that really hit me, because I can't imagine, you know, it's unimaginable to experience as a human being that ocean of love outside, and then suddenly experience that level of isolation. It's terrifying.
Yeah, and I think he has said it as well that the time in jail has been the most, the biggest learning experience for him as well. I think he has read a lot, and the way he has interacted with people, and the entire as an RJ must have.
His story is not real. It's unreal. You know how you say that, you know, it's stranger than fiction. It's more extraordinary than fiction. It's just so compelling in every way.
So did you interact with Manyata? What are your interactions like?
I have socially over the years. In fact, I was working with Sanju sir when Manyata came into his life. So I've actually seen her over a period of
during Lagaramana.
Yeah, Lagaramana Bhai. Then we were doing Shootout in Lokanwala. Then we were doing Alibag, which got shelved because he unfortunately went to jail. I don't know whether it's coincidence or it's what it is, but there's some connection with Sanju sir and me. That is, you know, it's just been there.
Right.
And I remember that this phase when the second round of court hearings started, and there was just so much controversy around those hearings, and there was so much talk, and there was so much loose talk, and there was that impending jail term, you know, that hanging on his head, ki ab, kab, kal, parso, you know, it was just, that was the phase when I was working with him on those films. And I remember being so shocked by the fact that you could see this inner restlessness that he must have been experiencing, but he never reflected that onto anyone. Sure. You know, he would just come to work, he would do his work and just give love. And he was the one thing I can always think about when I think of Sanju sir. If you had to say one word that defines what you have experienced with him, it's always been protectiveness.
Yeah.
He's always been so protective and so affectionate.
Okay, and now I spoke to Paresh ji, and he said that obviously he doesn't look like Sunil Dutt ji at all. So what is your approach like? Is it something that in terms of looking similar to Manyata, maybe a body language or anything?
You know, Ranbir has set a bar and a precedent that I don't think, I mean, any of us can follow. Although I feel that Eka has done such an amazing job, and the makeup department has done such an amazing job on making us all look like. So there is, I think what you try and achieve with a biopic, or hope to achieve with a biopic, is give people the sense that this is that person. No two people can ever look the same. You know, it's not possible.
Right.
But you can have that sense of that person. So that's what we've tried to achieve. And in fact, there are a few situations in the film where we've literally taken out from the reality and kind
portrayed
of
that.
Yeah, portrayed that.
Okay. All right. So, what has been the response of Manyata and Sanjay sir to your performance?
I haven't heard from them yet, but I met Sanju sir.
Right.
And in fact, right after I got cast, he was in the office. He had come to do a meeting. And he was very happy I was doing the film. And he's really, I think right now he's just shy. There's just like this awkwardness and shyness, because whenever somebody talks to him about the film, he just goes like, starts looking down, and he gets really awkward because he's like, yaar, what do you want me to say? Meri life pe film ban rahi hai, to main and it's very interesting. I haven't so far got the feeling that he's looking at any of this and saying, wow, good, huh? It's looking nice. He's just awkward about it,
Yeah,
he's just like, okay.
Right.
So that's him.
Right.
That's really him.
Right. Do you feel that this can be like a turning point as far as Diya Mirza, the actress, is concerned? Because we have discussed in the past that you focused on your activism and your role as a producer, and I think you're looking the way you are right now. So, do you feel that it's time for Diya Mirza 2.0 from here on?
I hope it just dispels some ridiculous myths that have been unfortunately encircling my existence,
Right.
and that I get offered quality work in quality films, because that's really the aim. I had to wait 6 years to do a film that I believed in and I wanted to be a part of. And it was a terrifying time for me, because you can talk to any actor. There is nothing more scary than having been an actor for 16 years. And the first job that I ever knew or did with absolute consciousness and awareness was being in front of the camera,
Right.
being an actor. So I was just joking about it earlier when I was talking to some other journalists. I said, every time you go to the airport and you're being frisked, and the security lady says, "Ma'am, बहुत time हो गया आपको फिल्म में नहीं देखा, आपकी अगली फिल्म कब आ रही है?" And you don't have an answer to that question.
Right.
It's very scary.
Right.
But it was a conscious decision. It was one made from just utter exhaustion, from not being able to just find that correct combination, and the pain of dealing with the failure of a film or a film not reaching its audience. There's nothing more painful than that for an actor, and especially if you've invested so many years of your life in the craft.
Sure.
You then reach a point where you say, okay, I'm financially empowered and I run a production company. There's more to my life than just being in front of the camera, and that this means so much to me that now whatever I do has to really add up and make me feel awesome about being back on set.
Right. And the way the situation right now is that there are a lot of films which are being made right now which are women-centric. Most importantly, people are realizing that we had this entire corporate phase and all that stuff where projects were being designed, but now thankfully people are just investing in good writers, and it's the stories ultimately that really drive any vehicle forward. And in fact, this year has been extraordinary as far as maybe box office is concerned, and most importantly, it's like the story-based movies they're doing so well. Be it Hichki, be it Parmanu, be it so many of them which have been doing extraordinarily well this year. And women-centric films are really working very nicely.
Yes.
So is it something that you're taking note of, both as an actress as well as a producer?
I think the effort will always be to, we've made a female-centric film, we made Bobby Jasus. And the effort is to tell quality stories, really. It doesn't matter who's at the helm of the story, whether man or woman, the point is to tell good stories. And I always say this, that I've never been caught up in this mixed idea of, I'm an actor. I want to act in films that I can respect and work in an environment that I respect and I love. And it doesn't matter whether it's main lead or it's centered around me or not. All those things don't matter. What matters is the story compelling you? Is the story making you feel a strong connection and a desire to, go out there and be a part of that process?
Right. And because I think you are having a very, very interesting profile that you've been doing such amazing work in terms of activism, and not merely activism, you passionately believe in that, which is, I think, hugely respectable. and that I think adds a very different dimension to you. That you know so much, which I think it baffles me at times. That the level of detailing that you understand is amazing. Has that in a way empowered you? Can we see a story emanating from that journey of yours, in terms of not really focusing on activism part,
I know where you're
but
going.
in terms of basically like cerebral level, intelligence level?
I think we're all
I think people are ready for
we're all a product of our circumstance
100%.
and our life experience, and I think as filmmakers we try and extract that and use that to tell stories.
Ji, ji.
So most definitely, in fact, even as an actor, I think that today I come to a film set with a better understanding of life. You know, I've experienced a lot more, I've seen a lot more, and I
100%.
think it does things to you that you really don't have the benefit of when you're younger. In fact, that's actually the one thing that really amazes me about Alia. She's so young, but the emotional wisdom
Yeah.
that she brings to her performances, you know, normally comes with life experience. And it's amazing at how, at such a young age, how she's been able to deliver that film after film. So, complete off for her. But I think that, you know, unlike the West in India, we for some reason always believe that people in film should just be focused on film and not do much else. And I think it's a very big misnomer, because
100%.
any creativity, any craft, any artistry requires life experience and requires a very alive engagement with life, which is what Amir keeps saying, right? If you go back to his interviews, you discover that he's actually even consciously chosen a friend circle which is not necessarily connected to the industry, because that's his way of remaining connected with reality and the real world around. And I'm very encouraged by the fact that I see now more and more actors wanting and willing to really engage with reality and do more to remain connected with a sphere of life which is not necessarily primarily connected only to film. So you see people investing more time in developing hobbies, whether you see actors playing football or cricket, or, you know, you must have noticed that as well, experimenting, you know, discovering new things, traveling. So it's just wonderful.
Yeah, no, in fact, as far as Amir is concerned, we were there at Pune. There was a press conference that he had,
For the
and it
Pani
was
Foundation.
Pani Foundation, and the level of knowledge that he has,
Yes.
it's like someone,
that
a very
comes
senior
when you-
journalist, told him that you are a proper water activist. You know so
Oh,
much,
absolutely.
which is
And I would like to, I mean, you know, that's so important, right? Because how can we fight or care for something if we don't learn about it? And I always use the quote from Baba Diem when I do my workshops with children. In the end, we will protect only that what we love. And we will love only that what we learn about. And I think that holds true for everything. Which is why learning is so important, right? Before we become the professionals that we do.
no, definitely that's I think very important to just have that core in terms of happiness and all that. I think maybe would love to see something
There are
different from you.
extraordinary things happening in the conservation world, in the sphere of environment. There are incredibly compelling human stories that one can be inspired from, real life stories. That yes, I would love to make, and I hope to be able to make them.
Yeah, and they can still be entertaining. They need not be preachy.
They will be, right?
Because ultimately, I think entertainment is something which really drives people to the theaters. And
No, Blood
you can
Diamond
still-
was entertaining.
Yeah, you can still
but it's
have-
a story rooted in reality. Avatar is entertaining,
Absolutely.
but what a message!
Absolutely.
So I think it's a fallacy to assume that if a story is connected to conservation or environment or any kind of activism, it has to be preachy. I think that's far from the truth.
Yeah,
Because-
definitely. And I think I think it's very important that maybe more actors from within India, they should be more conscious of it, and not merely for once in a while, but like people like Leonardo DiCaprio, they use the platform of Oscars for conveying such an important message.
You know, there's a thing that...
And it reaches to millions and billions of people.
Okay, so for the most part, and I think this has also been an example that some of our seniors have set for us, that people in our industry have remained apolitical. They don't assume a political standpoint. But I'm sorry, but whether it's sport or it's media or it's entertainment or it's governance or it's industry, there's politics in everything.
Absolutely.
So how can you not have political beings? How can you not have a political standpoint? You need to. And what's really, really amazing is that I think more and more people are expressing that standpoint, because it just reflects upon the fact that, or it reflects the fact that we are choosing to be just more participative citizens of not just our own country but the world. And we can use the platform of our craft to, isn't that what art was born to do?
In India it is happening.
Didn't art give birth to revolutions? Didn't art give birth to reform, to transcendence, to change?
Exactly.
That's what art is for, right? That's what artists were born to do.
I think in India it is happening, but I think primarily it is happening in South India. Like say Kala has just released, and I think it makes a really strong point as far as politics is concerned. Rajinikanth Saab, even the director, I think he's extraordinary. They're making some really valid and revolutionary points over there. Prakash Raj, I think, is
Marathi cinema is doing it as well.
Yeah, Marathi cinema is. I'm saying South India, even in real life, like Prakash Raj, the sort of statements that he manages to make. But if Priyanka Chopra goes to Bangladesh, so she's told that
why are you visiting a Rohingya refugee camp and not a camp in India?
Yeah, and for a fictional Quantico, the way she's heavily trolled, and even after issuing an apology, which I strongly feel that she should not have, the sort of filth that comes away is really I think sad, which is I don't know. So what they're trying, but this interview उन्होंने promise किया है कि हम लोग serious issues में नहीं जाएंगे, because picture entertaining है अपनी.
Yeah, we can talk about lots of things.
We can talk about a lot of things. Yeah, we can talk about a lot of things, but this interview we have promised that we are not going to go in the serious terrain. All right, so we'll end this interview on a fun note, and we'll have a rapid fire.
You're leaving me and going. Okay, fine. End it.
नहीं, अभी पिक्चर आपकी रिलीज हो रही है, अभी आजकल कुछ पता नहीं, कि किस चीज पे कौन, तो करने को तो हम लोग, because last time उन्होंने किया था तो आप थोड़ा सा मतलब जज्बात में आप बह जाती हैं, which a lot of people they don't want to talk about it. And all right, so let's stick to rapid fire, some fun stuff with Diya Mirza. All right, so if you have to define these places, Diya Mirza, in one word, how would you do it? And these places, they are associated with you in one way or the other.
Okay.
Jamshedpur.
Steel.
Okay. Mumbai.
Life.
Hyderabad.
Bachpan.
Manila.
Win.
Okay. Delhi.
Capital.
Munich.
Fatherland.
Brooklyn Bridge.
Love.
All right. If you were to be an actress from the past, who would it be?
Madhubala.
Why?
Grace, gravitas, and depth. Depth and gravitas are the same thing. I would just say grace and gravitas. Just her eyes had an ocean in them.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, if you woke up one morning and found that you're a man, what would you do?
I'd be standing.
Okay, so we get that. All right, since you're an ardent environmentalist, if you could just change one habit of Indian people, what would that be?
Right now, I think I would want them to stop using single-use plastics.
Sure.
Plastic straws, plastic bags, plastic cutlery, styrofoam plates, cups and mugs. If there's one thing we need to stop doing, it's that.
Definitely. All right, one thing that annoys you the most?
Lies. Just people who lie. Really. And somehow I feel that these days people just lie unnecessarily.
Randomly.
Yeah, like why are you lying?
Right. Okay, 3 qualities that you cherish the most in people.
Honesty, loyalty, and empathy.
Great. One makeup product that you cannot do without.
Lip balm.
Lip balm.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, if you wrote your autobiography, what would you title it?
Oh my God, it's a very tough question. This is not a rapid fire question, Faridun.
No, it's just rapid fire. Randomly, whatever comes to your mind. I'm sure that you must have thought about it.
No, I actually haven't.
But would you like to write at some point of time, like
A biography?
not a biography, but any book?
Yes, I would love to write a book. In fact, I've been toying with the idea of writing a book because of all the extraordinary people I meet year round. And now, especially in the recent past, I've met some of the most amazing people on the planet. And I keep thinking, these are the heroes for my children. You know, like these are the people who should be considered heroes.
Definitely.
So, yes, definitely would like to write a book. What would I title my biography? God, this is a damn tough question.
Okay, so we'll
What
come
would
to
you
it
title my biography?
I should tell you that?
Yeah. Why don't you suggest me?
Beauty from inside and out.
Oh yeah. I can't say that for myself.
So like, okay, we'll have it. We'll come back to it at the end.
Okay.
आप सोच लीजिए तब तक.
मैं अच्छा बात करते करते सोचूं.
जी.
I know women can
multitask. Yeah.
But I haven't
thought about that.
Okay, I will think simultaneously as you.
जी बिल्कुल. Gym or yoga, your preference?
Gym or yoga? I think I've actually cracked it. It's not the gym, it's not yoga, it's not Pilates, it's not functional training. It's basically achieving 10,000 steps a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If we can just all walk 10,000 steps a day, we're sorted. Everything else
I've
is
been
like
doing this
then.
recently and I'm just counting my steps every day. Yeah, 13,000 yesterday.
Well
so not bad at all.
done.
Yeah. No, I do running and gymming and swimming and everything.
Fab.
Okay, Deepika, Priyanka, Aishwarya. If you have to just place them in order of 1, 2, 3 in terms of their acting prowess.
You're so mean.
Deepika, Priyanka, Aishwarya.
Yeah,
this
don't
is
do
rapid
this to
fire.
me,
This
can't be.
is rapid fire.
This is just really unfair.
This is just rapid fire. Don't worry. Deepika, Priyanka, Aishwarya.
Okay, let me just get this over with. Priyanka, Aishwarya, Deepika.
Okay, who do you think is the most promising upcoming actor?
Upcoming actor, Vicky Kaushal.
Vicky Kaushal, yeah, I think he's damn talented. He's damn talented. All right, so Diya, we have this subsection within Rapid Fire. It is called Ye Ya Wo, either or.
Okay.
All right, Munna Bhai MBBS या लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई?
लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई. मतलब nobody can beat Bapu.
Okay, Diya Mirza the producer या Diya Mirza the actor?
Both.
If one thing that comes to your mind. एक आपको अगर choose करना हो.
It's like saying producer.
Oh, interesting. हैदराबादी बिरयानी या लखनवी बिरयानी?
हैदराबादी. ये सवाल हुआ कोई?
Okay. चिकन टिक्का या मटन बर्रा कबाब? मटन बर्रा कबाब.
Always better than chicken.
Okay. Alright, तुमको ना भूल पाएंगे या रहना है तेरे दिल में?
Tough one, ना? रहना है तेरे दिल में.
Okay.
Because it was my first.
Alright. Okay.
Very, very special.
आर माधवन या सलमान खान?
अरे यार, ये तो बड़ी मतलब बदतमीजी है ये. दोनों मारेंगे. Salman, because I said रहना है तेरे दिल में.
Okay, that balances up perfectly. All right, so Diya Mirza, pleasure having you on BollywoodHungama, and always lovely talking to you. And the fact that I think you mentioned that you don't like lies, and the fact that that honesty जो आपकी है, I think that's really wonderful. And we genuinely hope that looking forward to the movie. I'm sure that I genuinely believe that it's going to be like a game changer for you. That's my gut feeling. And we would love to see you. So. We would love to see you much more in movies. I'd love to do a lot more work. Yeah, would love to see much more of you. I think you'll find happiness in that. Yes. आप activism जो आपका है, I'm sure that it's taking you to another level altogether. But I feel that acting is very, very close to your heart.
It is.
Yeah, so would love to see. It
completes me. It makes me who I am.
So would love to see much more of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Faridun. It was such a pleasure.
Same here. That's all we have from BollywoodHungama. Keep on watching.
Hi, this is Dia Mirza and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.